Hello, my name's Matt Cameron, and I help people connect with digital marketing. We're just doing another office hours for Tracardi. I'm not quite sure what the number of this one is. I think it might be 13, but I'd have to check.
I just lost the count, so I'm not counting anymore. So, yeah.
This week, a couple of updates. Shouldn't be a long office hours, so we'll just fly through those updates. Some of what we promised last week is still in the pipeline. Just it is all community. We just do as much as we can. So I've still got to get my my Easy Panel post organised, and that'll be definitely there by the time we do our next office hours, and I'll do that walkthrough next time. Risto, would you like to share for anyone that doesn't know who you are and what you mean to the project, Tracardi?
Yeah, I'm a founder of Tracardi, an open source customer data platform, and we try to build the best customer data platform there is for anyone who would like to start the journey with collecting customer data. So, if you ever, want to join our office hours, we are doing it bi-weekly, and you can find the invitations on our page on the GitHub, and it's easy to find. So you're all welcome to join.
In fact, if you it's definitely there on tracardi.com, but if you go to the blog there, you'll see the RSVP links as well. And on the blog, you'll find recordings of previous office hours and interesting stuff. And I know there's a couple of new posts there from Risto as well. Just before we deep dive into those, I'm looking at the Slack group and some of the comments there. Sometimes it can feel like it's just me and Risto in this room, but it's lovely when people share a comment. So like, I'm watching, the time doesn't work for me, my English is a bit broken, I just don't want to be there, whatever it is, whatever's stopping you from being here. It's just lovely to get those comments letting us know that you are watching. That sort of feedback's gold, because it's like that KPI tick. We know that something's sort of resonating with what we're doing. So please comment on the blog or drop a comment in the Slack. Just let us know what you're doing. And I think also it'd be really interesting to do some deep dives into everyone's Tracardi stories. How are you using Tracardi? What's it mean to you? You're still learning about the platform, curious about learning more, or have you got it in production and doing something special with it? I think it'd be really lovely to get some of those stories together. I know that I'm working on a project that I can't mention quite just yet for a volunteer group in Australia. And I hope to be sharing a little bit about more of that soon, about how we're going about setting Tracardi up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And helping them to make a difference with connecting their customers to their data better, their data to their customers better. I don't know how you put that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, just making it work, personalizing messages and improving the segmentation through their email platform so they can get that personalized message to their audience better. I think that's the best way of saying that. Hopefully I got it right. On the blog, is there anything you'd like to share with those? Is there anything new that we need to have a look at?
Yes, one thing I would like to mention, because I see the traffic of people who are using Tracardi, and I see quite a big traffic. Okay, many people are using this, and most of them are not joining our Slack group. So if you would like to have like a real-time help, just join our Slack group, where we can just chat, and you can also join our office hours, because I see a lot of people doing something and don't see a lot of feedback. Usually I think, okay, maybe Tracardi is so easy to use, but as we know, there are use cases that require some support, so we are here to help.
Maybe that'd be an interesting thing to share in future office hours, just some of the stats, because sometimes it can seem like there's not a lot happening, but when you start talking about numbers, it's sort of you deep diving into what's really going on. And
Okay.
I'm going to guess this. I'm going to guess off the top of my head, there must be hundreds of people using Tracardi?
Yeah, a lot of people are downloading it, installing it. There are some people who use it for almost half a year already. So, and I see that they collect millions of events. So that would be just very interesting to hear from them. Well, how they use Trocardi, how the business is benefiting from it. So most of them are using open source Trocardi. So there are features for businesses as well. Not the commercial version. The open source version has a lot of features that you can use.
Yep.
So, and I'm getting emails from different people, like 10 emails a week, asking for different features. And yeah, there is traffic, but probably we need to somehow move that traffic to Slack group or office hours where we can discuss it real time.
I guess it's just about people learning, and it's always small, but then it becomes this snowball,
Yeah.
exponential sometimes. I know I was talking today about Tracardi, and the person I was talking to just said, I just need to know more about this Tracardi,
Mhm.
about the CDP, this open source Tracardi CDP. And that happens so often. But you've also got to have the bandwidth. You've also got to have that need. So it's just lining everything up at the right time.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I saw a post about, I'm just trying to recall, it was about the benefits of a CDP. It wasn't actually about Tracardi. It was just about generally about CDP. And also, I think
Yes.
there was a post there about just comparing some of the open source platforms as well. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. Actually, we are trying to post on the blog every second day, if it's possible. And I would like to cover different topics, and those topics the best way it would be if there would be not non-technical topics, because we started with how to install Trocardi, and there's also one topic pending, how to finally install Trocardi with Helm chart. But most of the topics that I'm publishing currently are not technical topics, and they just describe how Trocardi can be used for business. And first we compared the CDPs with CRMs, just saying because they're very similar in certain ways. And the CRM is just started as a first platform. I would say this is like a platform that started first, and then we, as a marketer, is starting to collect data, customer data in CRMs. But that started when there was like no huge traffic from the internet. Usually people were just calling each other or sending emails. Not much was automated. And
If I could
then
say, if I could just say something to that, when I describe the two of those, I say a CRM is somewhere to put your data, whereas a CDP is somewhere to organize your data. Would that be right?
yeah, yes. So, but basically, when you historically look at this, CRMs were for the companies that had like huge sales teams. Then they contacted the customers. That could be like semi-automated, etc. And they put everything in there. They have this pipelines, how the customer should go through which pipeline, etc. How to activate customers. But there was not like a huge traffic of the information of data points, because data points were like rare. Okay, somebody called somebody sent an email. But now with the CDP, we have this huge stream of data from behavioral data on the web page or from the call centers, etc. And then again, we have like AI that can organize this and connect, create additional data that could be put in those systems. So the CDPs emerged, and of course, CRMs are catching up. Okay, CRMs are also starting to collect data the way CDP does, but the CDP is like in a different way of looking at the data. So we collect a lot of data. The data can be automatically moved to some external systems because CDPs, the makers of CDPs learned from the past experiences from the CRMs that the data is not needed only in CRM. Okay, the data is needed everywhere, and we would like to use external tools. So if my CRM or my platform does not have some capabilities, then maybe there is some other platform that I could send the data and then there do something, okay, activate my customers or whatever I would like to do with that. So I would say that CDP just takes data and moves it somewhere else, but also inside just aggregates data about the customers, and it does in an automatic manner.
Yeah.
So this is the main difference, okay? In CRM, I believe that there are also some automations in CRM, but CDP by its definition should handle the data automatically, okay? And then can move to some other systems, also to CRMs for other people to do something manually with that data. So
I think when you think of a CRM, the automation that might exist there, you might think of a welcome email that might get sent to people that have joined a table as a result of records being added to that table, or records added to the CRM, I should say, trying not to be too technical there. But that automation is really bound around that one table, whereas the CDP is just a little bit more broad. It's not just bound around that table. It might be there. It could also be looking at the e-commerce platform, which people might be signing up to totally independently of the CRM, but they become an opportunity to funnel that customer through as well. So it's the CRM is very, very much about the flow, that sales flow. And I guess the CRM, if you're running a professional services delivery type, you might be a financial consultant or something like that. The CRM automation, it makes a lot of sense. It's a lot of one-on-one. But if you're scaling it out a little bit more with more components, then the CDP sort of helps bring all that together. Like I think you were saying there.
Yeah.
Would that be right?
Yes, but we can also look at the different types of automation. Okay, there's like automation that contacts a customer, but we can think about the automation that enhance customer data. So what I've recently done, for example, I had my customers, writing me an email, very short one, delivering their email and also leaving their name. And we can use, for example, I used AI just to guess from what part of the world they come from, because I don't know. I just use their name and say, okay, let's enhance this profile and find out from which part of the world the customer comes from. By it's just asking ChatGPT where this name is used. Okay, so I can say that this is all Africa, Europe, this type of things. Then if I have a business email, then there's another automation, and basically CDP does not have this capability to extract from that email information about the company, but the other services like Clearbeat or Apollo, you can just send that email and they just give you back all the information about the company, how big the company is. So now you can see this prospect in a different context. Okay, this is not only a short email, but you can see that this is a short email from a billion dollars company. Okay, so this is something else. So, and we can have different types of automation inside CDP, inside Tracardi actually, because Tracardi is a CDP plus automation. Usually CDPs do not have automation inside the platform. So, and of course, Tracardi and other automations can interact with the customer, not only sending them information, but also asking for information. So if it's possible to do it real time, we can ask about some information from the customer on the web page. How we do it on, for example, on Tracardi.com, we have very simple automation that says, okay, if you saw our pricing and and visited us twice, okay, just show a pop-up. Would you like us to make a demo for you? So this is another type of information we can get. So this is the main difference between the automation in CDP and automation in CRM. CRM is more, I don't know, it's more customer oriented, but in CDP it's any automation you can think of.
I like to think about some of that stuff in terms of interests and intents and that segmentation. So interests are very broad. There's thousands of interests or hundreds of interests in your sort of taxonomy or your business. And then you can often break those down into some segments, audience, personas, whatever you want to call them. But they often, a collection of interests will fit in with a type of audience. So you can collect those and match them into a segment. And then based on, as Risto just said, looked at the price page a couple of times, you work out where that individual is in the customer journey with you. That's always different. Everyone's got different use cases, different business models, but you can work out what the next step is, what's the next best recommendation, and that sort of comes back to that segmentating with interests and intents. And they don't have to just live in Tracardi. You can pipe them back into a CRM or an email platform and create your segments there, so you can do some more fine tuning with the content that you're sending out from an email platform as well.
Yes, and we have to also mention that the CDPs get the customers from different channels and they unite them. So if there's like a customer journey on started on mobile and then ended in the web and then ended in the customer service platform, some call center, it can organize it and just merge all those customer journeys into one profile. So then suddenly you get more and more data, and based on that data, as we talk about the automation, you can do different things as calculate interest, etc. And then on top of that, you've got segments, and on top of that, you've got activations. And this is basically what CDPs does.
I'm just curious, what's your experience with, because we're talking about merging profiles, creating a unified view of the customer. What do you normally use to match? Is it email or an account ID, or how do you match these things together?
Most of the companies
coming from different systems.
Yes, most companies use emails, but there are companies that use phone. Some companies use both. So there's always an identification in the whole process. Okay, so customers usually just see your company, and you see the customers as anonymous. Okay, so they visit your page and you see them as anonymous. They may never come back. Okay, so they will stay anonymous. But if they come back and they leave an email, phone, or some type of information that can be used to identify them, and you can define this in Tracardi. So what's actually your use case? Okay, in some use cases, this can be, for example, a batch number. Okay, somebody used a batch number, or some batch, and in that batch is the number encoded. Somebody used some promotional code. So, for example, just brick and mortar companies that have like stores everywhere. They collect information about the customer. They fill their form. Okay, somebody puts that into the system, and they receive a promotional code. Okay, when they use it, the system can use this to identify the customer, and then you have the whole history what they did on the web page connected with the personal data. So that different types of identifiers. The most common is email, but you can come up with different scenarios and join the data based on any identifier.
So in Tracardi, the events that we can capture, they can come from the API, which is sort of also channeled through the web page. I think there's a link identifier. I'm just trying to go on memory here, and I think there's a third one which I just can't remember off the top of my head. But these are the inbound events.
Yeah, basically the concept is that you have an inbound event and you have bridges.
Yep.
The currently implemented bridges are API, the link, so you click on the link, and there is a special JavaScript script that collects data from the web page. But basically, this is a API call. And in a commercial version, there are Kafka, RabbitMQ, etc. Email. Okay, so there are many bridges. But what is also worth noting that the data that you get and the automation that you have inside Tracardi, you can connect to any system. So, for example, the customer gave you an email, and most of your information about the customer is in external system. So, in that example, somebody typed the personal information into some legacy systems in your company, and there is this email, and also there is this promotional code. So you can use this automation to call that system, get the information, and enhance your profile. So basically, not only data is collected through the inbound traffic or through the events, but also can be enriched by reaching to some external systems.
And that's done in automations just by making an API call based on what you know about that subscriber or that customer, and like you said, being creative with how you use the data and how you can bridge a link to another API. Just coming back to the links, so explain to me, how do they work? Because I've not used them yet. So can I, for example, this is hypothetical and I put you on the spot here, but can I, for example, create in an outbound email, can I create a personalized link that can be identified within Tracardi? So could I base 64 encode some information into that link, which is then sent to Tracardi in the body of an email where somebody clicks through? Is that the intent? Yep.
Yes. So basically, you create a link saying, if you click on that link, you should be redirected to some page. So, for example, that would be your company page. Okay. But at the end of that link, you just paste a session number, and Tracardi can recover a profile based on the session number. So whenever somebody clicks that link, that person is redirected, but Tracardi also receives an event.
Okay, so just stepping that through, I can have a link that's published from another system, say an email marketing platform. That link is visit our homepage, but it's directed through Tracardi, and Tracardi can do something with that link. So could I have a personalized link? Could I have a payload in the parameter on that link that could get?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Actually, you can have the UTMs attached to this, so Tracardi will automatically take care of that and just say that this journey was initiated from that campaign or from that email. So this is one thing, and another thing, in that payload you have a session ID. So when you send something from Tracardi, or there could be session ID or profile ID, it will just that link will go to Tracardi. Tracardi will fetch the UTMs and profile ID and redirect you to the page where you.
So that becomes incredibly powerful. So I've got my website set up, and people are visiting. The data is flowing through Tracardi. I've got subscribers that I email to. I use this link. I encode data on there, and as they click through, I understand who they are, so I can map it back through Tracardi and onto the website. How's consent management worked in that respect? I suppose they've got to land on the destination. If they haven't been there before and they're identified as a new subscriber, then the consent's asked at that stage. So we're sort of yep, I understand.
Cool. Yeah, this is how it works. Yes.
Yep. Awesome. I really hadn't deep dived into that quite just yet. I knew I should do it. Yeah. Thanks for explaining.
Yes, and also on the getting back to the blog, we have posts on how how you can benefit from CDPs, because when we know how CDP is different from CRM, then we can think of the benefits that we have. So the main goal of CDP was to create a single customer view, because when we have different systems, we have the data about the customer just spread around, not in one place. But most of the companies says, okay, we have all the data about the customer in one place, because when the customer buys something, we have all the information about this. And my answer is, well, I haven't seen any company that has everything in one place. Because when you think that the whole journey started like months before a customer bought something, we just lost this data. And there is another data, probably maybe in your accountancy system, that somebody did not pay for something, that is not still in your
I
system.
totally agree. So often you can ask them, where's your source, your system of truth? Where's your source of truth? Oh, it's over there. And hand on heart almost type stuff. But the donations or the e-commerce is over here, and it's just not connected. And it's not hard, but it's a learning journey, I think, about what's possible. Yeah.
So think, for example, that because companies, when they grow, they just keep putting new tools. Okay, so there's, for example, we've grown and we have an issue with warranties. Okay, what is the best tool for handling warranties? Okay, so let's just buy this tool, we implement this, and we are happy the warranties are handled. But there is information about the customer who just had the warranty issue, or etc. And this is usually not. We don't have it in one place. So this is not only like web, mobile, or some customer service channel. There's also external systems that have this information, and we don't even think that we could have this in one place.
And it's so easy these days, because all these sorts of systems have got two things. They've got callbacks, which quite often you can configure. For example, with Stripe, which is an e-commerce platform, you can configure those to send whatever you like about wherever the customer is at. Very customizable. And the other things, the API. So the callback is going to push the event data across, and the API is going to be more something you can use to query with. But all systems have got these things now, and they're like those little bridges that just sit between different clouds or different things in the cloud. Yeah.
And also, do not forget that different tools for legacy systems, just open source tools for this is called CDC, Change Data Capture. So big companies usually install this kind of system, so it monitors a database. If there is a change in the database, we can get the data that was changed and put it into some queue. Usually it's Kafka, and Kafka can Tracardi can consume this information from Kafka. So actually, if there are a lot of legacy systems, we could put a CDC and then monitor certain databases and get the information about the changes. And then we have information about the customer.
I love all the words we give things like Kafka and everything else. I think they should be so much simpler. What does Kafka actually do? In a nutshell, in one sentence.
Yes. Okay, I'm getting technical again.
Yeah.
Kafka is a tool that it's basically like, it's called a queue. So it's a place where you put information, and it sits there as long somebody just other system asks for it. Okay, so for example, we have clicks from the customers from our web page. So all this information can be put into Kafka, and there is like a whole history of clicks. And then we can connect any system that could be Tracardi or I don't know, CRM, etc., and just pull this information and put it into our system. So Kafka is it's usually called a middleware or something that just transfers the data from one place to another. It's like orchestrator saying, okay, how the data flows. So this
It's
is
like
a tool.
it's like a big bucket that you put things in, and it'll stay in the bucket until it's pulled out. Once it's pulled out, it's
Yes.
not in the bucket anymore.
Actually, Tracardi uses Pulsar. Apache Pulsar is another version of the same tool like Kafka.
Yeah.
So Tracardi use that. So it puts every event if that in that Apache Pulsar, and that background processes it, just says it to different databases, orchestrates it. So basically, you could use also Apache Pulsar for this. This is just a tool.
Yeah, and I guess sort of deep diving into the more technical aspect or the why of all this sort of stuff is that queues are used to help things become scalable and manage
Yes.
out. So you can add more workers. So you put things in, then you can add more workers to pull things out. So if you put in a lot of things in, which is easy, sometimes the time to take stuff out is a bit longer. You can just add more workers to be pulling the stuff out and organising what happens next with it. So we can see that dynamic of not being bound by one big humongous system, but a whole lot of parts that run off the back of the queue, which is quite
And
a
it all
common
yes,
practice.
yes, and it also helps with usually this is the tool for bigger companies. It usually helps with there are spikes of traffic, because sometimes your infrastructure will not be able to consume all that. So you need something that can quickly save this, okay, store it somewhere, and then we will process it later. So the same way Tracardi works. So when there's like a huge traffic, we will consume that, but storing this can take. There will be some latency in storing this, so it will be stored later, or the automation will kick off like not a second after, maybe a minute after. So this helps a lot.
I recall a website service. I must have been years ago, but the whole thing about it was for pregnancy. It was to give you buy your clothes when you're pregnant. It was the idea of secondhand clothing for pregnant women. It was set up by a maternity nurse. They've got a special name, and I can't remember that. Anyway, but that's beside the point. Anyway, she went on a talkback show in the morning. It's like those shows that they talk about what people are doing on television in the morning. And the average traffic went like this. This spike, huge spike when she went on the show and mentioned the domain name at the time. And that happens. You've got to be able to handle that. So what happens when all those orders come through? How do they get fulfilled? You don't want to lose the order. And I guess that's what queues are for. And that's some of the principles. I feel like we've gone off the topic a little bit here, but we're sort of talking about architecture and how Tracardi works, components.
Yes, but just saying that
Scalable.
you can consume events from different sources that can be very technical, or just simple as web page. Yeah, and another benefit of using CDP. Yes,
we might have gone off topic, but we haven't really gone off topics. You imagine you send an email campaign out, and you're not doing that all the time. So when you send that campaign out, you're going to get a lot of, in the moment, you're going to get a lot of visits potentially. Yep. So Tracardi's got to be able to manage those, and that's architecture. Because most of the time, you're not sending the campaign. When you do send the campaign, that's when the interest is going to be aroused. Sorry, I was just having a brain click there about why it would be helpful in Tracardi.
But you also, when we think about this, that things that are when you automate are quick, and some things are slow. For example, right now we have AI. AI has huge potential, but AI is slow. So without this kind of approach, you will not be able to handle a traffic spike. Okay, if you connect the AI to some data that is very can go up and down very quickly, the whole system can fail. So when you use such systems, you have to know that they have to be prepared for this. Okay, and Tracardi, commercial version of Tracardi, is prepared for that. Okay, we can also just go back and talk about the business benefits because we always just drive into details. Um, and one thing is just the single customer view. Another thing is that I think that CDPs will play like a very crucial role in what's coming next, actually, with AI, because I see like a huge interest in personal agents that use AI. And that personal agents, what they need information about the customer, or just information about if I tried to use Tracardi for my personal assistant with AI, I could do it easily because it could collect all the information what I do. Okay, then I could use this information through the AI, and that AI could, for example, say me what happened today. Okay, so if I collect information about all the emails that I've got, AI can tell me, okay, you've got 5 emails and one is waiting for to be replied. Okay, so there's this another thing that is happening, and I think that the whole e-commerce will just move to this, not very quickly because there are like roadblocks on that journey, but I think CDPs will play like a different role soon for the companies, because we will interact like by voice, not by clicking, probably quite soon.
The LLMs are sort of at that stage now. I know with Meta's Llama, if I pronounced that correctly, Llama 3.1
Yeah.
Llama, it's got workers, so you can embed a worker in the prompt and provide instructions for how certain criteria might be passed off to the worker in the prompt to go and do something external to the LLM to provide context for the prompt again downstream. So all that stuff's starting to appear, and that's an open source LLM. I know with Open API, Open AI, some of that stuff's available now, but it's becoming common now. I just can't imagine where it's going to be soon.
Yeah. So I think that CDPs and this kind of system will play very interesting role in the development of personal agents, because the way it's built, it's just an AI in front, and there is data, and there is like AI, some program agent will ask the database about some customer, will just get back, and the AI will respond. Actually, what AI did for us, it just changed the way we talk with the machines. Okay, we used to use like APIs, but now I think there will be the shift that we will start using a language. So, okay, if there is a device, for example, that I put on my table and just ask, okay, can you find me, I don't know, some place that I could spend my vacation, we can already do this, because this is like a simple way of finding the places I could go, and the API will just talk to me. Okay, but this will just go deeper, so it can say, okay, what emails I have received today. Okay, is there any email waiting for a response? Okay, just
It's an interesting way to think about a CDP, personalizing it to yourself, so that the only profile or the only subscriber in the system's yourself, but you collect all this other event data that's been channeled from different systems. And I guess what we're talking about are some of those potential use cases.
yes.
But flipping that around, the commercial aspect of it is when you've got a number of subscribers and you're connecting to multiple systems, and you can start to collect some of that information as well.
But we can think that, okay, well, but they could be like providers that will just aggregate all that information, saying, okay, you don't have to have like your own system installed. Just send us the information you would like the AI to handle, and and the system will handle this. And actually, CDP is a core of that. Okay, yeah, the profile is the customer, and I'm delivering some. This is basically like a very broad. CDPs can be used in a very broad use cases, not
Yep.
that simple use cases like e-commerce or I don't know financial, but the new use cases coming up
Oh no,
because of AI.
it is going to flip a lot of business models around. If you
Yes.
consider blockchain, having ownership of your own data and being able to grant access to who you want to do business with, not having that siloed out into other businesses. Some of this stuff I think is a few years away, but it's going to throw a lot of business models upside down. It's
Yes.
still got siloed data. Your telcos, your utilities, your memberships, your rewards cards, they're still all in individual systems. They're still all in other CDPs and CRMs and data warehouses and whatnot. But in time, that will become yours. I strongly believe that, and that would be the democracy of our own data to own it
Yep.
ourselves. And actually, we could say we want to be marketed to, and if you want to market to me, I want
Yes.
10 cents for every ad. I say, like, why not? It's the model that Google's grown up on with the advertising. Why don't we have it for ourselves? If you want to market to me, you want my eyeballs, you need to pay for them.
Yeah.
It'll
That's right.
change.
And
It'll
actually,
change.
I will pay back actually, because if I got interested, I will pay back. So yes, I think a lot of things can change.
Yep.
And I also would like to mention that actually CDP also saves costs. That because CDPs usually are not seeing at systems that can save costs, but when you have like an integrated information about your customer, you don't send pay for advertisements many times. Okay, just send one message to one person, and you have like less customers in your database, because when it's like spread across, okay, different databases, usually just take it to one database, and then okay, let's do a marketing campaign out of this data. But there's a lot of duplicated data. Okay,
And what
so
happens is you send a campaign that's very broad, not personalized, and it doesn't resonate with the audience because it's essentially it's spam, it's junk.
yeah,
So the more personalization through that segmentation we talked about earlier, um, that lets you have that right message. Now, maybe you shouldn't be talking to one of your customers through an email. Maybe you should be picking up the phone to them and talking
yes,
through that next step, because that's the best thing to do, because they fit into that cohort of they should be contacted by a phone call for 20 minutes because of the next thing they might do in terms of their lifelong customer value. But it's not going to surface if you're sort of doing that blast process. So, I totally agree about the value. It
yes.
just
So
changes. It automates it. Yeah.
yes, so
Imagine
basically,
having a list of. Imagine every morning you walk into the office and you've got a list of one person that you must contact today because they're going to make a difference to your bottom line, and it works out exactly who that person is.
yeah.
That'd be
Also,
gold.
also, for example, if some marketing channel is more expensive than the other, so you could just, ask, for example, a phone call or a meeting. Okay, it's more expensive because it takes your time. Okay, so you could, based on the information you have, you could first ask for a permission to just contact somebody, and then contact somebody. Then this you could you just prioritize the channels that you use for contacting customers, and this way you can also save money.
Yeah. I think with any CDP, not just Tracardi, but any platform, once you start collecting the data, once you start, it's so important to get started and be collecting useful event data. Once you start doing that, the possibilities become endless, and you sort of look at it from different ways and you work out what you can do next. I feel like we
Yeah.
should play this recording back in 10 years' time and laugh at ourselves.
Yes, yes, right. Because no, things are
What were
changing
they?
so
What
quickly.
were these guys on about? They should have
Yes.
known better.
But I've recently watched a video that somebody pointed that there were people visionaries that were talking about amazing things that could never happen, and after like 50 years it finally happened. And he was talking about Jobs and Wozniak, that they thought, okay, with their first campaign, that they displayed a personal computer, that is a tool that will make you that you are not a slave to a big company. Okay, and that was crazy. Well, some machine will not will make that I will not have to go to work every day. Well, basically, I don't go to work every day right now because I have a computer. Okay, and I work for myself. And a lot of people right now are doing this, but like almost 50 years ago, uh, that was impossible. That's something crazy. Okay, so maybe we'll just wake up someday to a different world.
We will. We will. Awesome. Oh, so I don't know where we started, but we did start with the Tracardi office hours. We've just sorted a lot of stuff
Yes.
out. Um, Thank you. If you're watching along, thank you for watching along, especially if you've got to this point in the recording. It's great to have you still with us. Like we said earlier, please drop by the blog, which you can find at tracardi.com, and leave us a message. This recording will be up soon, like all the other recordings are, and we do highlight stuff. And Risto's a bit more intense on the blogging at the moment with the posts than I am, but we're definitely trying to get some posts in there that can help people with their journey and helping, not so much from a technical point of view, but just helping understand how it all fits together. So definitely drop by and say hello, comment on a post, let us know you're following along. And I think the other one would be really interesting to do is just people's Tracardi story. Because I know, talking to the person I mentioned earlier, everyone's got a story. I think, like you said, there's hundreds of people out there that aren't sort of on the channels like Slack or the blog or the newsletter. It'd be great to hear your stories as well.
Right. Good.
Risto, thank you for everything you're doing. Hey,
Thank
is there
you.
any news for any upcoming updates? I know we're sort of in this lull between updates at the moment. Is there anything on the horizon? Or
I'm working on something that takes a lot of time, unfortunately. As I mentioned before, I would like to move to some SQL database, and to be able just to store in Elasticsearch and some SQL database. And I'm just refactoring everything to make it work. Actually, that this will be a 2.0 version, because there's a lot of, I think, at least 6 months of work. But if it happens, I think it will open another big opportunity for Tracardi, because I could start, showing Tracardi that you can install some system, but you have your own database. So it would be like, for example, somebody has some CRM, and that CRM works on some well-known database. So Tracardi could just feed the information to that CRM, to the database, and then you can have like very a lot of information about your profile. So yes, I'm working on like a shift from Elasticsearch to some SQL database.
awesome.
That's why there are no little features coming up every week, because there is a lot of work on different things.
I know it's fair enough. I think we're at a pretty stable point of time now anyway.
Yes.
Yep. No, cool. All right, then.
Would like also to mention that there is a new documentation. The new documentation now has a versioning. It means that you can find the documentation for each Tracardi version, which is very important because we didn't have that. And now, yeah, we can switch between versions, and the documentation will be per version.
Nice.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Then I think we're going to try and do weekly. I know Risto will join us every second week, but we might just come online next week to see who wants to have a chat and share their story. So we'll see what happens. We might give this a go for every second week in between. Just have a bit of community chat about where you're at and what's your Tracardi story. So until next week, catch you later.
Okay. Wait a second, okay?
Oh, and there's more.
No, I would like to, talk off the record, okay?
Okay.
So
we're still
actually,
recording, though. If you're talking off the record, should we stop the recording?
we can cut this out, okay? You can cut this out. This is up to you. Because I think very good way for Tracardi office hours would be just try to get more people and not just us talking, because well, I'm watching different office hours from different open source projects, and when there are people coming to the discussion, and we can also discuss not technical things, because it will just go to the cycles, the people who are not technical, okay, who just thinking what actually a CDP is. So that's why I'm trying to steer it out of this technical content, okay. So if you have anyone outside the Tracardi community, anyone who would like to discuss the CDP potential, etc., that would be just perfect. If you could just go talk to them, then if they get interested, we can even talk. Three people can talk, and then even more. So office hours would come up, not be only about Tracardi, but about CDPs, and then we can also mention Tracardi.
Yeah, about the use cases. We won't cut this out, we'll leave it in. I can remember when Stack Exchange first started, and this was like, I think it might have been like 15, 20 years ago. I can't remember how long, but I used to, they used to do a podcast every week, the founders, Stack Exchange. I used to burn them to a CD. So when I was in the car, I could listen to them. These CDs, it's crazy times. We didn't have everything we've got now. But they didn't talk about the technical aspects of the platform. They talked about why they were doing Stack Exchange and their motivations and what they were trying to solve. And I sort of remember that to this day. Like, it's not about the tech, it's about what you're trying to do. And if you look at Stack Exchange now, it's just such a wonderful repository of information that you go to place to find out how other people have solved the problem that you've got from a technical point of view, but their motivation for setting that up, it's just incredible. And to listen to them talk about that, it's inspiring. And I can't remember their names. I'm sure you could look them up. There's two of them. But yeah, like, I totally get what you're saying, Risto, about telling those stories, motivations, and it's not about how it's done, it's about why it's done.
I also thought that a good idea would be if we just every office hours, when we look through the content, just cut out very short parts of it, okay, and then just share it on the social media, just introducing what was in certain office hours. Okay, that should be not longer than 1 minute, because when you look at the stats, how people are watching the content, 1 minute is a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let me revisit that. Do something special for this one for next time.
Yeah, and also maybe we could. I also suggested this for your event. for me, I always go through the recording and just cut out some parts that I think are not interested or not interesting, or I was just my English was not good. So, and also cutting out the most interesting part and putting it in front of the whole office hours could also benefit, and the engagement can be longer.
Yeah, no, we have been actually cutting the bad bits.
Hmm.
They've been cut already, so we've been doing that already. But I know I definitely got you saying some of the highlights. It's like that block quote. Make sure it's really clear.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's use Gen AI to be more creative with what we're doing. Definitely, we can dive
And
into it a
also,
little bit.
I would like to ask you, because with the blog, if you
Yep.
have any ideas, you don't have time to write the content. Actually, most of the blogs content, I sit for an hour and with AI write content for the whole week. Okay, this is like a one shot for the prompt in a ChatGPT or Cloud AI, or just combine it. And if you have ideas, what we could write about, the topics, okay, what topics we could cover, then I can write this, okay, because sometimes I'm lacking, what I can do, what I
Oh,
can write, okay.
let's even make that simpler and just hop on a call, record the video. We can
Hmm.
transcribe that video into text, and then we can do all sorts of wonderful things with that to create content. But it has to start off with something original, and it sort of goes back to the motivations and interests. Why is the platform interesting? Not from a technical point of view, but what are we trying to achieve with it? But yeah, just getting those thoughts from the community is just so important.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, good. So that's it.
It is.
uh, uh, if you have any ideas, just let me know, and we'll just move from this.
Yep.
Do you have in mind somebody who would like to join next office hours?
No, I don't. But I've
Okay.
been reaching out to people on Slack. I haven't had too many conversations. I'm just slowly working through the list there. But like I mentioned today, had a really good conversation. I guess it's about so much of platforms like Tracardi or whatever they are. You're interested in the moment you're interested in, and then you go quiet on it. You're doing something different. So it's really just a matter of picking up those signals, those events. Maybe we should be getting more signals into Tracardi itself and how we manage what's going on with the Tracardi community. Maybe there's a story we can tell
Mhm.
ourselves about
Yeah.
how we're getting signals from Slack and different places. Anyway,
Mhm.
I haven't, but we'll keep working on it.
Mhm. Okay. 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 Good.
All right. And we're on the top of the hour. Thank you so
Mhm.
much,
Thank
Risto,
you.
and
Thank
for
you for
all
your
your help.
time.
I know you've been on Slack this week answering my questions, so thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Not a problem. All right. Till next
Okay.
time. Bye.
Okay. See you. Bye.